I watched the Unrest in Rochester, New York, July 64 video. Um, Going into it, didn't know anything about the subject and was ready to learn about it and what it was all about. I didn't even know cities this far north had racial issues, especially as late as 1964. They opened by saying Rochester was always a prosperous community, and the people inside the community were aware of that. Um, Kurt Gerling wrote a book called Smugtown, USA, and at first I was just thinking that they were describing a suburb because I've heard of a lot of cities that sounded like that where they had big money with little problems. Their unemployment rate was really low. They were complacent. Their lives were very well set, and kids could grow up there and get jobs there and make good livings. So that just sounded like a suburb to me. But things started changing because immigrants started coming in and moving into the 7th Ward, which was very poverty stricken, and all of the housing was very run down and really not livable because there were, like, for example, they had rats running around, which was not safe because they were biting kids and sending them to the hospital. So people were scared of living in these places because, like, there was actual dangers like these rats. And police brutality was present, or allegedly present. I'm not really sure after there were two different conflicting stories, but I'm sure it was present at the time. And police dogs were part of that problem. One man actually said that people were trying to escape to Gary, Indiana, which is funny. I'm from Indiana, and I know that Gary, Indiana is one of the worst places to live. It's got one of the worst crime rates still today, so can't imagine that it was any much better back then. On the Friday night when the first riot broke out, there were police there and colored people fighting, and it was probably a very scary situation to be in, or at least to live near, even. Police were using fire hoses to spray people, and they had tear gas on them, but I don't think they ever used it. Eventually, the police stopped it, and the community members were able to start communicating with the government and the mayor and the higher up people like the police, and they were able to figure out how to fix the problem, or at least how to start fixing the problem. We don't see this kind of thing happening as much today, but it still does happen. For example, it happened in Jefferson City in Missouri a couple years ago, and it's happened in a number of cities in the past 10 years. So obviously it still happens, and it's not good that it still happens. So, I mean, we need to find a way to coexist peacefully.